and that will be from, well, 9:30. You join us up to about 11:30 right here this morning. And we're talking about how we can do a lot of introspection about the state of our health facilities, especially infrastructure, getting the right sort of resources, etc. So we're going to have some great guests. Myself and Kemini Amani Nyamano will be having the conversation, moderating, as well as steering this effectively. The National Forum, the state of health facilities in Ghana right here, not only on TV3, but also live on 3FM 92.7, across all social media platforms. And make sure you join us, 3 News as well. And I tell you that for all those who have joined us this morning, we're grateful. And especially our great loyal viewers on our streams. I see a couple of you already. So let me just quickly, as I do by way of the ritual, acknowledge all of you this morning for joining us. And I already see Victor, Clamate, Desiree, Marvin. And so we'll see how that goes. And then also I see Mustafa Awudu and Manini Mani and the rest of you as well. Please make sure that you share the stream. And we know that it's just a day, really, I have to say 12 hours or 16 hours after the court made that ruling or the judgment. We hope to see the full judgment on the 21st of May, but it sent, I won't say shivers across the spine of many, but also a lot of waves across discussion platforms. Eko Vincent Assefa is a member of parliament. He's also a legal practitioner, but he was the petitioner to the court, and he was represented by Godfrey Dumbing, a former Attorney General, and rightly we had reactions coming from the Attorney General's office, represented by the Deputy Attorney General and Justice Remsai, PhD, also reacting swiftly. And we know all that transpired. But let's again tell you who we have here this morning. Dr. Zato, after some sojourn to some destinations, is back in the studio to help us do some discussions. Good morning to you, Dr. Zato.
Good morning, Roland. Good morning.
Great. And then also I have a public health expert, also biostatistician. A statistician is all right. So he loves maths, all things numbers and health. He loves it. He's also a deputy boss of the research. So he loves maths, all things numbers and health. He loves it. He's also a deputy of the Justice Moses Ahato. Good morning to Professor Ahato. How are you?
Correct. I'm very good.
Great.
Yourself?
Great. Ah, I'm well. I'm well.
Good.
And my man, as always, when he's not here and I'm hosting on Wednesdays, I say, oh, I miss him. He's here. The Chief Executive for the Common Sense Family, Solomon, with the Movement for Change. Solomon also, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
You're looking great this morning.
Thank you. Thank you. It's for the health forum. It's costume.
Oh.
It's costume. Yes. Costume. Relax for me.
Made in Ghana.
Yes.
Oh, then that's a good one. That's a good one.
So, propaganda no good, though.
You're just pushing to the wall.
Yes. He wants to make a point. You know, Movement for Change, they're all things Ghana.
Yeah. Definitely.
And when it comes to making sure that we have import substitution, if you look at the Movement for Change Bible, the GTP, Great Transformational Plan, that was launched January 2023. Actually, they're the first political movement that launched their manifesto. It was live.
Yes,
right?
live.
Okay, Mohammed Awal Usman is watching us from Germany. So thank you for joining us as well. But let's take you through some of those. If we have those slides, well, we'll take you through. But we had some reactions. Eko Vincent Assefa, as well as Dr. Justice Sremsai. But before then, we'll take you those. The injunction application and how the Supreme Court dealt with them, rightly put on these screens for you. And we had the filing of this case, the March 27 day. And currently we know that's struck and redrawn as well. Then we had one also with the Attorney General, that's Ebenezer Osei-Usu. And then Vincent now came back as well subsequently. And we know that these two were drawn within the proceedings in court. Justice Sremsai did say that that's abuse, so-called, of the court processes. But again, that also means that we have to put the matters into perspective. Now, subsequently, all right, so let's hear from Echo Vincent Asefwa as well as Justice Remsai.
Really confirms what we have been saying all this while, that there is no legitimate, legal, constitutional basis for all these processes that the former Attorney General has filed on behalf of Honorable Asefwa. Today you notice that even injunction, they had 2 injunctions on the record. And when they were asked, they quickly withdrew one and allowed the other, which is clearly an abuse of the court process. To keep filing processes with the hope that one of them will stand is really not a good practice for a lawyer to do. And that is what happened.
To versus Attorney General clearly tells you that in reading the Constitution, you have to do so by the letter and the spirit. If anybody tells you that because something has not been clearly stated in the Constitution, for that matter, it has no potency, I am telling you that
Echo Vincent Asefwa, also a lawyer, is a petitioner in that there. And, so the court was constituted and panel. And the acting CJ, Justice Paul Bafo-Boni, presided. And subsequently, if you look at the proceedings in court, there was some contestation about, the Chief Justice in that acting position, presiding, being contested by the petitioners, lawyers, that, well, because you become ultimately, or maybe, depending on the decision that the president will make, should the suspended Chief Justice, after going through the proceedings, be made to no more hold that position as Chief Justice, and that Justice Paul Bafo-Boni could be, but that decision, of course, lies in the bosom of the president, based on what the Constitution says, the ultimate beneficiary, if he or is not. As a result, he needs to recuse himself. The court then went in, came back and said, well, there are options. Justice Poamang, and as well, even though Justice Poamang also was appointed to the Chief Justice, nominated, and subsequently, after approval from Parliament, then appointed in 2015 by the current president in his first term, which really are the options. So now we had those dissenting, the justices as part of the 5-member panel dissenting, the widely experienced lecturer and then 10 Supreme Court Judge, Justice Henry Tamensa Bonsu, as well as Justice Enes Gau, who also outside the court processes and in the court of public opinion had been singled out for criticism, etc., because of the role he played in the New Patriotic Party, subsequently as an experienced lawyer. As the president has that right, that's per what the Constitution mandates. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as president, then nominated and subsequently appointed to the Supreme Court, or dissenting. But the acting Chief Justice, Paul Bafo-Boni, as well as Justice Yoni Kolende, and then Justice Amadou Tanko. So within that proceedings, coming out with that judgment, 3-2. Varied views there. Very interesting so far, but there's good reason for that. But it's also elicited a lot of discussions and then criticism. What do you say yourself as you watch us? I have to first, and I have to go to Dr. Zato. Dr. Zato.
Yes.
I'll say that because, well, you as a political scientist, somebody who does the assessment, etc., what would you say are your foremost observations so far from the proceedings up to the court event itself?
Thank you very much, Roland, and good morning to all your listeners. I'm happy that this morning's panel, I don't know, the prof is not a lawyer, maybe Solomon's a lawyer, so we are lay people who are here to do this lay thing, so they can probably...
Because of what you said, we'll be having legal practitioners.
Okay, don't spoil it for us.
Okay.
No, don't spoil it for us. Let's pocket lawyers.
Let's have our
let's have our own.
So because I wanted to bring
No, we are fine. We don't need reinforcement. We don't need reinforcement. We are good.
Director of the law school.
I think we are good.
Okay.
Look, what I have to say is this. If you remember, I was here on this platform when the first petition was brought against the Chief Justice. And I'm going to say it again. It's a foregone conclusion. It's done. The Chief Justice is gone. There will be a new Chief Justice, let me say, by the end of the year. It's gone. It's complete.
I don't understand. You spoke to
the process,
to the committee.
I'm just saying that the process, watching all the leaflets and watching everything going on, this Chief Justice is gone. She's out. She's not going back to her office. Maybe she's going to be just to pack her things if she didn't pack all of them. But as the Chief Justice, it's done. It's finished. Oderana is gone, complete. She's not coming back as a Chief Justice. One of the first things is that, unfortunately, something tells me deep down, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana didn't want to go down this path. What deep down I believe that this Chief Justice has become a victim of circumstances.
I don't understand.
She is a means to an end. The end is to get rid of the EC boss and all her deputies.
Who told you that?
Again, I'm reading the political leaflets. You said I'm a political scientist, so I observe, I watch, I analyze, I say these things. So that's the means. Now, there are hawks in every political party has what we call hawks and maybe doves. And then you have those in the middle. The hawks want everything extreme, the doves are, and then those in the middle. I want to believe that in this debate on these particular issues, the hawks within the NDC and the government have won. And they've been able to convince the president. They've won. Because I don't think that His Excellency the President will want a removal of a Chief Justice to be part of his record. He's done so much for the governance of this country. He has been on all arms of this government. From I hear he was once an assemblyman all the way to MP.
Not that you hear, he was.
Oh, he was. So what I'm saying is that he has invested a lot of his adult life in the governance of this country, and I don't think this is what he wants to be the main thing right now. If you look at the amount of space, and if you look at the amount that have been discussed on this, I don't think this is what he wants. So personally, I want to believe that the Hawks have won him over, and that the process is that it is a means to an end, and that the end here is that get this one. So this woman genuinely, the Chief Justice, doesn't deserve this. But then again, it's politics. Everything here, everything we are trying to see about going to court and about coming to no, that is politics in action. Right there is politics, because you are seeing the weaponization of the legal process to achieve a political objective. That is what is happening.
What do you mean by weaponization? There were suits that were put before the president.
Yes.
And based on what the Constitution indicates, and petition, and then the precedent that has been set by his predecessors, he just did the same.
Look, I'm saying, good, again, I'm saying that, fortunately...
Because the president, in the matter of Charlotte Osei, just also said he was a conveyor belt. That's
the next point.
So John Dramani Mahama, I perceive, was just a conveyor belt.
You actually lead me to where I was going with this. The whole argument seems to be this. If you watch it now and you watch carefully, it's like, blah, 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 Charlotte Osei, blah, 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 Charlotte Osei, blah, 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 Charlotte Osei. Charlotte Osei was removed, so this one has to be removed. Blah, 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 Charlotte Osei has been removed. So it made it look like there is no other defense that once that has happened, is going to be. In public policy analysis, we call it path dependency. There's a theory called path dependency theory that says that confronted with any problem, policymakers look to the past. That history matters. They see what happens. That whenever they have to look at this, Pearson and Komogen have said that, look, you have to look at that mostly, especially when it's a challenging issue. It has never happened before until Charlotte Osei happens. And once that happens, a Pandora's box has now been opened. And that Pandora's box is that because Charlotte Osei was removed, precisely because those processes were invoked to remove her, this woman too has gone.
Before Charlotte Osei, there was the commissioner for the...
You are just confirming what I'm saying. You are just confirming what I'm saying. You are just confirming the theory. Yes, you are just confirming what I'm saying.
In the ecosystem of the political environment, aren't actions taken by duty bearers based on precedents and past events, as well as what the tenets of the law do indicate?
And I've just told you that we studied that one we call path dependency.
So why do you say it is politics?
But that is politics. The decision to do, look.
You mean the decision to remove Charlotte Osei was political?
It was political.
Okay.
The decision to remove that one is political because ultimately.
So does it mean that it was premeditated?
What I'm saying, Of course, you didn't just wake up and remove her. Somebody sent a petition, you looked at it, you premeditated, and then you remove her.
So it was premeditated?
No, you send a petition, I read the petition, then I act on it. I've premeditated on it. I don't know what you are premeditated.
So was it premeditated? The decision to remove Charlotte Osei.
Define premeditation. What do you mean? I don't know. Somebody sends a report.
What do you think premeditation?
I don't know. That's why you know.
For English, it means it's preconceived.
Yes, it was.
Was it preconceived?
The moment you send a petition to somebody.
To ask you a specific question.
My answer is that the moment you send a petition, when you send a petition,
precedent for removing such,
when you
such
petitions are not
organs of state.
Roland, petitions are not
premeditated.
Petitions are not sent by accident. You don't accidentally say, oops, I've sent a petition to Solomon. No, you premeditate it. You want the woman to move, then you send a petition. Have you ever heard about accidental petition? I've never heard about it. So once you've sent a petition, it means you're premeditating that the person should be removed. And then the final decision. So for me, that is what happens. The woman, it is done to go. And then it says, this path dependency, the fact that history matters, and the fact that policymakers mostly look for the point of least resistance, that is to quote history to justify what they are doing, will now become one of the biggest issues or concerns with the second coming of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Because you can justify both quantitatively and qualitatively that Charlotte Osei, yes, and the Shira Yuman, yes, they did not occupy a separate and equal arm of government. Charlotte Osei was part of the bureaucracy of the central government, central administration. Shiraj was a part of that central government. This is the first time under this constitution that somebody who belongs to an equal, separate arm of government has been removed. Also historical. Two different things. As I said, quantitatively it can be the same, but we can go into the qualitative aspects. Since 1992 up to this stage, not Jerry John Rawlings, not Kufuor, not Professor Mills, may he so rest in perfect peace, not Kufuor, has removed an equal and separate member arm of the government. This is the first time. And it's going now into history. But
she hasn't been removed, she's been suspended. So I want
again, if you follow my, I'm saying that is a done deal. If she's not done, I'll come here and I'll apologize. I'm saying she'll go. She's gone. Okay. You see, this is the problem about touching that arm of government. If you want to touch the Speaker of Government or the Speaker of Parliament, it's okay, it's politics. Because the Speaker of Parliament has what? Let me say foot soldiers, political foot soldiers who can rise up and defend him. The Speaker of Parliament has one of the biggest platforms to defend himself if you want to touch him. You want to touch that arm.
Zato, aren't you indicting your argument?
Which is?
You're a political scientist, yes. A distinguished one. Mm-hmm. You say, for an independent arm of government, mm-hmm. like the judiciary, mm-hmm. touching or petitioning the president, mm-hmm. which leads into processes of her removal or his removal, mm-hmm. should not be done. I
didn't say that.
But then
no, I didn't say it shouldn't be done.
But then
I didn't say it shouldn't be done.
But then you say that for the Speaker of Parliament, mm-hmm. who also is a leader mm-hmm. or head of one of the organs of government, mm-hmm. because that person is a politically exposed person, mm-hmm. it is right.
No, I didn't say that too.
Then what are
I'm saying that they are different. Good. So let me make the point. If you want to touch, there are three equal and separate arms of government: judiciary, executive, legislature. The judiciary, the executive and the legislature are political by nature. And so they have political parties to rise up, defend, and support them. They have political constituencies whose main objective is to rise up and defend them. The judiciary is the only arm of this equal separate government that does not have this reservoir of people to get out there and defend them and protect them. The judiciary is the only people who do not have voted constituencies to go out there, rise up and defend them. So in other words, the judiciary is the only arm of this government or this equal arm of government that do not have politicians, political people who can go on air and defend them. So there are certain ducks that can be taken. When you do this, and this has become, as I said, it is going to start a roller coaster. And I'm telling you, this is not the last time a Chief Justice is going to be removed. So my hope and prayer is that the Constitutional Review Committee better takes another look at it.
You have a minute.
The Constitutional Review Committee should better take a look at this, because if not, we are going to go into a vicious cycle so much so that any Chief Justice appointed should just know that once the president is leaving, they should pack their things. Because we're learning from history and learning from path dependency theory. It tells us that past events do affect the nature, and when confronted with such challenges, politicians and policymakers tend to look to the history. We should be able to, the Constitutional Review Committee then has a choice to prevent this from happening in the future by one, probably limiting the number of Supreme Court justices we can have. by saying that no, we shouldn't make it a free-for-all buffet for every president to just do whatever they want when it comes to that. They can do that. 2, by making it a little bit more difficult to remove a Chief Justice than the current system. We all had, or I have always thought that it will be difficult to remove a Chief Justice. I've always thought that. I've always thought the process is so tedious, so difficult that no president will want to invest so much energy and power. But what is happening just to me that it's not. It's a very simple thing. Very simple. Petition, pam, 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 and it comes. I think we should find a way.
How is it pam, pam, pam? The thing has gone through process. It's a pam, pam, pam.
The processes are pam, pam. That's what I'm saying. Okay. It's going to take less than 4 months to remove a Chief Justice from office.
But how do you want it to take 4 years?
No, I want it to be more... to be difficult, more difficult.
But it is difficult.
It's not.
That's why you petition, you go to the Council of State, you come back.
I'm saying that the Council of State is inherently a politically biased institution.
Okay.
Most of them appointed by... So you see, that's what I'm saying. If you look at the political process...
They've always been elected.
Some of them. Some of them appointed. The 16. The 16 or 14, but currently if you look at them, most of them are politically exposed to. My point is that that body is politically biased.
Towards a ruling government.
Towards a ruling government. I'm not saying towards an incumbent. So what you don't have is that somebody who is by... Look, imagine that somebody that decides something. You're going to bring a new justice. Imagine every month we receive a petition to remove the new justice, Chief Justice that will come. Just imagine somebody decide that I'm going to be naughty. I'm going to be frivolous. Every month. He's going to send a petition to the president to get the new Chief Justice removed. You see what is going to happen here? So I'm saying that this is a done deal. It's gone. It's completely... There's no coming back for the Chief Justice. But going forward, the Constitutional Review Committee has a lot of work to do to make sure that we don't continue going through this vicious, opaque cycle.
Okay. It's not the first time we have situated a conversation that the Constitutional Review Committee perhaps also needs to take a real look at the structure within the tenets of the Constitution. Looking at the Article 146, that also could also be undertaken in relation to 296 as well.
That's true. Yeah.
In the removal, for example, of the Chief Justice in this specific matter. Yeah. But it is true that it is not just a whimsical action that is undertaken. It goes through processes. And the president is also guided by action that are well spelled out by the Constitution. Is that not a Professor Heto?
That is true. So when my colleague from UG was speaking, I was just looking at the Constitution of Ghana, Article 146, Clause 6. He said it very clear that where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, the word is shall underline, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. So, I mean, listening to this clearly, the President Mahama was simply discharging a constitutional right.
Others say he was
because I don't see any free fancy in this or any abuse of power in this, because individual Ghanaians actually petition the President as required by the law or by the Constitution, and he's acting on that. Just as Nanado said, they are just a conveying belt. So if President is acting constitutionally, and my colleague is trying to say that there's a political tune to this, for me, all we know is that the President is discharging his rightful duty. If anybody feel aggrieved that he's not following the due processes, our court systems are there to challenge him. Unfortunately, they have already started some of the challenging processes which went to the courts.
Like what transpired yesterday?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's part of that process. So what it means is that my learned friend here knows very well what to do when the President is going against the law. Unfortunately, some of his own people started that process, just that they couldn't succeed, because for you to succeed in the Supreme Court, you know, you need to make your case clear, and they have to understand that you really have a valid point for them to act on. But all that were submitted, we had the judges. Even those that were withdrawn by themselves, let's not really talk about that one. Let's come back to talk about those the one that was actually dismissed. It was 3-2. What simply that means is that the petition could not stand. That's the meaning of that. So I want my brother not to be too emotional about this process.
He says the actions were premeditated. And then I brought in Charlotte Osei and say that, well, if we have to say those actions are coterminous, does it also mean that in this instant case, and then in that case as well, Charlotte Osei's removal was premeditated? And he says yes.
Yes. The good news for my brother, or my learned friend, is that he was in this country when Charlotte Osei was removed. I've never heard him speaking against the process. This is the first time hearing from him.
He's not saying he's against the removal of Shadow to say. No, you don't.
No, he said it was political.
I was in the country, sorry.
You was in the country. Okay. But
No, it's okay.
But I have
his excuse that he's not in the country.
No, yeah, but I will come to him. We have very genuine guys outside there, like Azar. Azar is not always in this country, but he's in the US. And he flies things down when he's not happy about it. So that is no excuse at all. So I just want to remind my learned friend and to make a point that, you know, when it comes to constitutional matters, let's allow the law to work. Because I remember under Nando's rule, they always tell you, if you're not happy about something, just go to court. I would not...
That if you're not happy, go to court.
Go to court. That is, if they have done something there, you're not happy, go to court. You know, if you remember, it was a slogan during Nando's time. Any later thing they do, you talk about, they say go to court. And I'm happy they have gone to court and they are back to the house now. The good news to me is that the president is not acting or abusing his power. You and I, if you read the Constitution, it's very clear. He was simply what? Discharging his constitutional duty. And in addition to that, what I see clearly in this is that we should allow due processes to be followed. Let's not preempt decisions of the courts. Because the committee that is being set up, they are actually constitutionally mandated to deliver on that assignment. So if we begin to say that it is a done deal, that the Chief Justice, the old one, is gone, then maybe our brother is privy to something that I don't know, because I know the committee is still doing their work. And if you look at the Constitution, it's very clear that even this process should be in camera. It's not an open thing, where I would say maybe he actually observed some of the process so far, something that is in camera. As to where he got his data from to conclude that it is done deal, I don't know. But I want to assure him that should the committee finish their work, fortunately, there are other members of the Supreme Court Justice who are part of this process. And in fact, if you read the thing, one of them is supposed to be the chairman, if you remember. That is the same clause 6. So if we already have members of the Supreme Court who are actually part of this process, and in fact, one of them have to be made the chairman of that committee, then he simply told me that he didn't believe in the Constitution of Ghana or the judiciary anymore. Because this process is not given to anybody on the street to do. The chairman of that process is one of the members of the Supreme Court, the justices. So for me, let's give some credence to the process for now. Let's not preempt, because the moment you begin to preempt the process, we also are attracting, sorry to say, there are others who might not be learned like him, and they might want to act on his decisions or his statements. And to foresay or to say that it's a done deal, already the tensions are already rising, and you see the demonstration relating to the removal of Chief Justice. And the fact of the matter is that the very people who are actually chasing this and doing demonstration, majority of them are from the opposition, the main opposition, that's the NPP.
What's your point with that?
The point is
it's
that
their right to demonstrate.
It is their right to demonstrate. But we have a political party who always make all of us believe strongly that they believe in the rule of law. If they indeed believe in the rule of law, the woman is not yet sacked. It's a process, it's a rule. The same law is the one that allowed this process to go on. Is that not it? So why are they on the street demonstrating when the process is still in motion? What are they preempting? So for me, let's take it as it is. For now, I'm not privy to what they are doing, and none of us here is actually privy to what the committee is doing, because it's supposed to be heard in camera. I only want to say that the president did not act in any bad faith. He's simply discharging his constitutional duty. Thank you.
Now, Solomon, and you look at the perspectives that have been shared here, and then what the various antagonists or protagonists in this matter, whether it's the MPP element, the minority element, and then the smaller parties who might have gone on demonstration, whether it's related to a Vincent Assefa, you say that there are criticisms that the actions are just meant to frustrate the process instead of allowing the Constitution and the law to just have a free pathway for processes to be undertaken. What do you say to that? Good morning.
Good morning, my brother, and to my co-panelists. The truth of the matter is that the New Patriotic Party is doing everything possible to bring this thing into the political arena, because they have made a category.
They are making it political?
Yeah, they stated it, that one of the reasons why they were going on that demonstration was that this was a political issue. We should forget about the legal issue and concentrate on politics, and that was why they attended or they were embarked on the demonstration. I mean, Roland, one thing we are all missing is that those that petitioned, are they really political? The petitioners. We have not addressed our minds to this fact. And my mind was taken back to the petitioners yesterday night. Something that was striking.
You mean the individual?
The individual. Are they members really of the NDC, or they are Ghanaians who have a stake in this country that believes that something wrong has happened and that has to be dealt with?
So why should that be important?
It's so key. Because you take someone like Daniel Ofori. Maybe many Ghanaians do not know his background, but he's one of the richest or wealthiest people in this country. So,
is it the Daniel Ofori, the lead shareholder of MTN?
So,
exactly.
you know, that one has not come out clearly.
He's the one, yeah.
Is he political?
No, he's not.
And if it is political, which political party does he alliance to?
He's a very quiet man, actually.
Exactly. So when such a personality who has so much or huge investment in the country petitions, you cannot just treat it anyhow. Those of you like my our brother Kenneth Japo will say, "More here for cry, you think we must listen to you?" Oh. That is why. So we must not listen to someone who has invested so much into this country. Then we are missing the point.
Oh, here for.
And here for him. But that is not my position. But that's what Kenneth Japo thinks. So I believe that we must give the benefit of the doubt to those that have petitioned, that they are not doing so because possibly they want the Chief Justice out, but because they feel that something untoward has happened. Now, you go to the composition of judges on the matter yesterday. Do you know that of the 5 judges that sat on the matter, all of them were appointed by
Put the judges
presidents, NPP presidents? Are the Ghanaians aware of that?
Really?
Yes, yes. So all of them.
Justice appointed by an MPP, that's President Kufuor.
Justice Bafu Boni was appointed by President Kufuor.
Yes, I remember.
Justice Henrietta Mensah Bonsu by Nana Kufuor. Justice Yoni Kolinde by Nana Kufuor. Justice Amadu Tanko by Nana Kufuor. And Justice Ernest Gahu by Nana Kufuor.
What's your point with this?
So the point,
what have the judges done to you that you're pointing
so
out?
If the judges really sees this enterprise as purely political, and these judges were appointed by NPP presidents, it means, in the framework of things, their allegiance must be with the NPP. And so the decision must be to protect a Chief Justice that was as well appointed by a president of NPP. That is Nana Akufo-Addo. But here they were looking strictly according to the law. And what does the law say? What Ekoesefa sent to court had already been dealt with. His first application was that there has to be a declaration that the processes that were being undertaken by President John Mahama was not following due process because the petition had not been sent or given to the Chief Justice. I wondered how he got to know that the petition had not been given to the Chief Justice when he visited Assefa himself was not part or had not been petitioned. It means there had been a conversation between himself and the embattled Chief Justice. I have said time with that number that if I were the one advising the Chief Justice, I would have followed the president of Abe Fortas when he realized that, hey, things could go other way, so I'm resigning to restore the status quo. Yes, she has a constitutional right to fight. I believe that the hula baloo has become necessary because the issues at play, the processes are not open enough. And that is why I agree with my brother that there has to be constitutional review. There has to be amendment to our constitution to make Article 146 so open to the public. I mean, whom are we showing?
You mean the in-camera sitting?
Yeah.
It's not necessary. By now, what we must be demanding as the people of this country is what threshold did the prima facie case meet? They didn't meet. You know, the prima facie case is a legal process. So the Council of State, together with the presidency, should be publishing to us the framework in coming to that determination. But that is missing in all the arguments. So going forward, and it is not the fault of the president, neither is it the fault of the Council of State that it's not published, because it is not contained in our constitution. And so going forward, the Constitutional Review Committee must be taking a critical look at all these things. And I also disagree that people say it should be difficult to remove a Chief Justice. Is it difficult to appoint a Chief Justice? Even If it is not difficult to appoint a chief justice, why must it be difficult to remove a chief justice?
I don't understand.
The truth of the matter is that anybody who is put in a position, it must be easy to put a person in a position, and it must be so easy to remove the person if the person is not behaving. If it was going to be difficult, then we can have a recalcitrant chief justice, knowing very well that it's very difficult to remove him or her per the constitution, so that he or she misbehaves.
What do you mean by not behaving?
No, I mean, people, those that have gone before the court, that have petitioned, they have raised a number of issues. For instance, Daniel Ofori raises 21 allegations of misbehavior. I believe we have to go into it. I am not saying that...
Look into the merits?
Exactly. I'm not saying that at the end of the day, these 21 issues are true or not. But these are allegations that must be interrogated. He again raises 4 issues of what? Incompetence. Are they really... Has the Constitution even outlined what constitutes incompetence and also misbehavior? All these things must be looked at in shaping our democracy. So we cannot just throw it out. But I believe that if I were the one advising the Chief Justice, I would tell the Chief Justice to, at this stage, resign, so that the judiciary will have its peace and we move on.
Should have resigned? What do you mean by that?
No. I mean, come on. I don't know where he's getting his facts that she will not survive it. But from where I sit, at the end of this process, having gone through all this, will she have the gravitas to still be at post to work?
I don't understand.
At the end of the day,
what do you mean, would she have the gravitas?
Already.
Because of the matters that have been raised?
Okay. That's number one. Number two, and the way and manner we have politicized the issue. If she is now the Chief Justice, today, political parties from our side, Professor Hito's party would think that, hey, she is the enemy of the state. If she is there, the MPP feels that, hey, we have one of our own there. So for me, in order to balance the equations, she must resign and negotiate it. It is not too late. The last time I was saying...
You should resign and negotiate?
Not negotiate it. There has to be that avenue. And this government must also have an open arm policy to allow her to negotiate her exit so that we can move on as a country. Rather than this hula baloo, back and forth, everyone is throwing the jabs. If you don't take care, now people are going to dig matters that are not even related to this whole petition, just to come and muddy the waters and destroy the woman.
Okay, so what we've done is also bring in a distinguished legal practitioner and then law school administrator, former director of the Ghana School of Law, and also currently is one of the leading founders for Mount Crest University, and they are one of the leading law faculties in Ghana at the moment. And Mr. Kweku Ansasai, good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother.
Okay, great.
How are you?
Yes, I've also heard you speak sparingly on varied forums on the subject. Now, following the dismissal of that case yesterday, if you have to do a lot of observation and opinion sharing on what transpired, what would you say in relation to whether, well, within the period of the proceedings, the ruling that was made, whether the acting Chief Justice should still be made to sit on this case as the presiding lead, so to speak, just because the argument from Godfrey Dame, etc., was that he could be an end beneficiary, so to speak, if we should have the suspended Chief Justice removed from office? What would you have to say on such vexed matters?
Thank you very much. Now, you appreciate the fact that there were 2 short rulings yesterday. One was with respect to the inclusion of the acting Chief Justice on the panel, and then the other on the substantive application. So let's deal with the first one as the inclusion of the acting CJ on the panel. Now, the 5 justices who sat on the application yesterday unanimously rejected the objection. They overruled it. And therefore, as far as that issue is concerned, my view, my assessment is that all 5 in returning the unanimous verdict would have determined in their own judicial eyes whether the acting Chief Justice, whether it was appropriate for the acting Chief Justice, to sit with them. By returning a 5-0 verdict, as far as they were concerned, in their judicial eyes, there was nothing wrong with the Chief Justice, the acting Chief Justice, being one of them. So they determined it, and it followed precedent, because all previous cases, have shown that our justices on the Supreme Court so that we are one and the same person, and therefore when it comes to these issues of excluding the head, their view is that the head is their head, and they need, sometimes the considered opinion or view or direction of the head. And therefore, on this matter, since all 5 of them agree that the acting Chief Justice, could sit, there was nothing inappropriate, as far as they were concerned. So it has put, the doubt to rest. Now, and it accords with the basic principle of justice that like cases should be treated alike, and different cases treated differently. That's, what I gleaned from the unanimous verdict of the 5 justices. Now, returning to the 3-2 decision, it was split. And again, it is a recognition of the possibility that the issue is a delicate one, which requires a delicate handling. It is not easy for 5 justices, to come and all unanimously agree that it should be halted or it should not be halted. Personally, I would have thought, that the application was fully, without any legal merit whatsoever. In the sense that, there is nothing, absolutely nothing in Article 146 which constitutionally enjoins any person other than the President, to initiate and halt a process. It's only the President who initiates, and therefore it is only the President, who may have a power. He reserves to himself the power to halt it. Other than that, the point will be made that no person in Ghana here, no institution is above the Constitution. The President is not above the Constitution. The Supreme Court itself is not above the Constitution. They merely interpret the law. Parliament is not above the Constitution. All of us are subject to the Constitution. Therefore, if the Constitution has charted a certain pathway, consecutively, then the consecutive stages must be respected. If the petition is received, this is the constitutional pathway. Let us follow it, to the end. No care, no bend.
Mr. Ansasari, do I get it from your submission that your rightful observation was that perhaps the Supreme Court shouldn't have even entertained the suit at all?
Pardon me?
Are you saying the Supreme Court shouldn't have even entertained the suit at all, so to speak?
They should have done what?
Could they have not entertained the suit at all? This petition from Eko Vincent and his lawyer.
Come again, the line is not clear, so I'm not catching it.
Okay, so I'm asking you, do I get it from your submission that perhaps the Supreme Court shouldn't have entertained this suit at all? Sure. They should have dismissed it in limine, because whatever ruling they return must have the support of the Constitution. If anyone can show me where in the Constitution it has been stated clearly that an application can be brought to halt the process, then I bet it differs. But there's nothing in the Constitution. All the Constitution says is if the President insists it, he will take the following steps: A, B, C, D, E. That is what is there. So if anyone can show their lordships
I think that they are judges. They can change their mind.
Okay.
But as far as I'm concerned, I see nothing in Article 146, that will support, any reversal or the suspension. Even public policy, in terms of the distinctive Ghanaian public policy, cases, once they start, must, come to an end. It is in the interest of the Republic of Ghana that litigation comes to an end. It is in the interest of us all that once the CJ removal process is begun, it will be allowed to terminate one way or the other.
So it should be allowed to run its course. What do you make of there's the perceived over-politicization of the subject matter? And I have a couple of my panelists here, Dr. Zato in the lead, saying that, well, the CJ and the appointment of the CJ, not only as a person but to the office, is political. But then you take the removal of the CJ, by way of the person, doesn't have the mass public opinion always backing it, because the CJ per se, whether it's a man or a woman, is not a political animal. As a result of that, public opinion will always not be for. When the time gets to where we are currently in this instant case, to canvass that public opinion, to perhaps douse that appetite to remove the CJ, so to speak. And then we've had the GB also coming, and then the political parties or politically exposed persons are commenting. Generally, the over-politicization of the side. Do you think it's been too much over-politicized? And as a result, we're not speaking to the law, rather speaking to opinion?
Well, as for it being politicized, every human being is a political animal. And therefore, if we take it from that perspective, whatever we do, and there was this quite fascinating illustration put by Professor Hereta Mensah Bonsu, about the breakfast, that the timing of breakfast. So whatever we do, people will read meaning into it.
Okay.
The constitutional mechanism has been spelled out. It is the human agents who operate the Constitution. And the human agents who operate the Constitution have their political leanings, interests, and challenges. Once it is, we recognize and acknowledge the fact that it is politicians who set the machinery in motion. One can always conclude that it is being politicized. It is up to the operators of the Constitution to disabuse the minds of the populace that this impression or perception that we have, does not chime with what they do, unless they are able to dispel, these erroneous impressions or perceptions. People will continue to say that if Nanado appoints, is politicizing. If Bahama appoints, politicizing. At the end of the day, we must have confidence in the system that the operators will do, what the Constitution has mandated them to do. But the way things, happen in Ghana, we tend to, over-satisfy our followers.
Okay.
So if it's an MPP, government in power, then they will look for, judges, who will be sympathetic to their political, aspirations. But my take on the matter is that once a judge has been appointed, whether from NPP or DPP or NDC or whatever, the judge ceases, to be aligned to that political party. The judge becomes a justice of the Court of Ghana. And therefore, if you are a justice of the Supreme Court, your loyalty must always be to the Constitution and not to the person who are. But we've had examples of such justices. Akokosa, I'm told, we are always reminded that he told Nkrumah, to his face that you appointed me, but my loyalty is not to your personality, but to the Constitution of Ghana. Sarkodie Ado, the same thing. So we've had many shining examples.
All right.
If we can emulate those examples, there'll be no problem for this country.
Okay. But even Justice Bafuboni, and then I think the sum of the 5 who sat on the case yesterday, all of them were appointed. For example, Bafuboni was appointed by John Kufuor as president, and then subsequently we had Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo also as president, appointing Henrietta Mensah Bonsu and Yone Kolindi and all of them. So I guess that speaks to your matter. Thank you very much. Ms. Ansasari, a former director, Ghana School of Law, but also runs one of the foremost law faculties in Ghana, Mount Crest University College. So wishing you all the best for the day. But Dr. Ajebuntie Zato.
Yes.
Well, just spending some 4 minutes on the subject. Yeah. Now, well, if the Chief Justice should be removed, going through a process, whether you predicted it or not, it's through a process. So it's justified.
Yes, it's a process, and I'm saying that is a political process. Okay. Look, tell me something.
It's a constitutional process.
The process is so opaque and so close that you don't know what is happening within the system. Since this is a very consequential thing, and as I said, it is going to be one of the biggest records in His Excellency John Ramana's record when he leaves, that you were the first president under this constitution to remove a Chief Justice. There is both a qualitative and a quantitative difference between the Chief Justice and EC Chairman, and Chief Justice and Shira Chairman, because the EC Chair and the Shira Chair fall under the executive arm of the government. The Chief Justice is an equal partner of government based on the separation of powers. So if you are removing an equal, the process, at least as we said now, is so opaque. How did the Council of State get to this one? Can the report of the Council of State can be published? I'm not saying it's required, maybe the law doesn't require, but it can be published. The president can say, look, precisely because this is a history-defining moment, precisely because of the consequential nature of this, I will publish that report. If it does that, I'll praise him. The report of the committee coming, that one too, we're not supposed to know. We're not supposed to know what happened. But for the sake of the consequential nature of this, the president could say that one too, I'll publish it. Let students of law use it and learn.
The law doesn't say that.
I'm not saying, I just said that. I'm saying the law doesn't say that. But he could say that, I will do that. I don't think if he does that, somebody's going to arrest him and send him to jail. No. I don't think if he publishes it for the sake.
You want the president to commit.
No, the law says he cannot, it should be, but the law says if he publishes, he go to jail. Did he say it's a crime punishment?
There are no specific.
Exactly. The law says that the thing must be heard in camera. But the law didn't say that you cannot publish it. I'm just saying that. The law doesn't say that. So he can publish it. It is his, he can publish it. He has executive power, I think he can publish it. To do that, to bring some transparency. But ultimately, the final of what I'm saying is that Justice Tokonu is gone. There will be a new Chief Justice by the end of the year or by the end of this month. It's done any day, she's gone, that is finished. The only way she's going back there is to go and pack her personal stuff. She's left them there and go home, even though she's not going there. And the moment this is done, watch, we are moving to EC. The EC chair and the 2 deputies are also gone. So we are going to have new EC chairs, new Chief Justices, and we are moving on. That is the game, and that is the political strategy. And I'm telling you, the Hawks in NDC have won. They've been able to convince the president, take him around, and they're having their way.
Okay. But so are you saying the Hawks in MPP won when Charlotte Osei was taken off?
Yes.
Very interesting. So at the end of the day, it also means that we have the key individuals who are in civil society saying that we should allow the processes of the law to be undertaken, and then also saying that the president, because this will be a momentous occasion, will be setting maybe a bad precedent. But again, once with the Loretta Lamte and Charlotte Osei issue. Yeah. For you, as a lead political party, you're even in government, are you worried about setting the wrong precedents, also to speak? Not.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Roland.
Let's say you remove the head of the judiciary. It also means that the next time, let's say the MPP government comes into office again, they will remove an NDC appointment.
The MPP will come, not the movement for change.
Okay. Let's say. Let me rephrase.
We are going to metamorphose into a political party. So please don't give them these unfettered power as though they are the only political.
Solomon Owusu, please. Yes. I apologize. Let me rephrase. So the next time we have the MPP, the Movement for Change, or the PNC.
Yes, they also
and the others come into office. Can they also remove an NDC appointed Chief Justice?
Yeah, thank you very much, Roland. Me, as far as the process being followed so far are legal, we from the NDC side, we have no problem at all. Because it is only a problem when we are not going through the due processes. And in fact, there's a reason why the framers of the Constitution made provisions for those things. It's not Mahama who is decided on that. It's the 1992 Constitution. So as far as we are within the Constitution, we are good to go. And also remember that, maybe you've forgotten, I want to remind my colleague, my learned friend, that even before Nanado left office, there were petitions to remove the Chief Justice.
There was one from Professor
Asari. Exactly. In fact, even the process kickstarts. He went to
the Council of States. They did establish a prima facie.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't know.
What's your point with that?
The point I'm trying to raise for him is that he's making it look like when President Mahama came to power, that he invited petitions. It's not like that. Before he even came, there were petitions there. You see, sometimes when we are speaking, I will advise my learned friend that let's speak to what is within the law.
You're not learned.
Okay.
You're PhD.
I will advise my colleague.
Lawyers call themselves learned.
I will advise my colleague.
No, I don't know what that means. Why you say we are not learned?
It's not invited for discussion.
I will advise my colleague that let's rather help educate the people. Because as we hear, many people are listening to us. Once it's within the law, let's make it clear that it's within the law. Then when we go home, we can make our political talk out of it. For instance, during Charles Osei's time, what did we see? Everything was done in camera. The report was never ever published. But this, my own brother, is now asking Mahama to add another, job to his work, to publish the findings or whatever the committee will come out with. If the hearing is done in camera, how can you come and ask us to publish the report? Because that's the Constitution. So my brother Solomon was drawing his attention, but didn't pay attention to that. He was trying to ask him, should Mahama commit another illegality? But I didn't understand that statement. Because if the processes are to be held in camera, it is that camera process that led to the report or the findings. So how can you promise the report? So what's the sense of going in camera? So for me, if it's not there, let's not try to add it. He could have suggested the same thing during Sarah.
Well, he said for clarity, it's an option that the president could. Because the law is not straitjacket saying you should or should not.
Yes.
So once there's no clarity on that, the president can take that option.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I just told you that even the process, the whole of the process is supposed to be held in camera. If you're supposed to go to the public domain, why are you hearing the process in camera? Is it not the same product led to the report? It is what is discussed or what is done within the committee level, that goes into the report to the president. So if you now release that report to the public, then what have you done? Why the need for the camera hearing at first? This is what I want my own brother to understand. And before...
On the subject of the precedent.
Of the precedent.
Well, it's not... The precedent being the first time we'll be removing the head of the judiciary in the Fourth Republic.
Yes.
Even though the other independent organs of states.
Yes.
Like the Shraj as well as the EC head.
Rola,
he says they are not the same.
Rola, when you try to push him to the wall, he tried to struggle a bit, but I could see him struggling. When you raise the issue about shall I say, he was trying to say that these are not the same arms of government.
It's true.
Okay? If they're not the same arms of government, even to a point, let's say, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, this is the first time also that she was removed, using the same process. Was the petition
again
not
Article 146.
Exactly. Was the petition not actually forwarded to the Chief Justice at the time by a president of the state? And did the Chief Justice not acted on the same petition and remove the person? What has Mahama done wrong? It's the same process. Even in fact, when you petition to remove any of the justices at the Supreme Court, do you know the process? It is rather the CJ, the Chief Justice, who have to receive the same petition. And in fact, the CJ, together with other people to be added to him, will sit on the same case, just as it's being done now. Just that now what's happening now is about the Chief Justice. But it's the same process also for what? The other judges of the Supreme Court. And in fact, a judge was sacked under this current government, the previous government, just because of those, what we call there are grounds of removal of the Chief Justice and even the CJ.
And not justice of the Superior Courts. Are you talking in relation to the Anas Aranya
issue? So for me, there's every clear condition, evidence that Mahama is doing nothing wrong, but rather following the due process. So should any political party come back to government and follow the same due process to get their way out? For me, it's about the law. Just as they are saying. once you didn't go out of the law to get a Chief Justice or any of the Supreme Court justices removed ABCD, we have no problem. So we will not call ahead of when somebody come and do what we are doing, whether they go with the law.
Solomon also, are we setting precedents negatively, positively? What? Or the law is the law?
The law is the law.
The law is the law.
And the CJ even said it.
The law is the law.
The CJ said the law is the law.
Let me also say that this business of people trying very hard to say that the CJ's position is so weighty position and that you cannot compare it to the EC's office. I disagree. Because you see, the fundamental principles that we operate with in this country is that all men are equal before the law. All women are equal before the law. You cannot tell me because someone is a Chief Justice, if she goes to steal plantain, you must discount that and rather punish that ordinary person who is on the street for stealing plantain.
So what you're saying is that the Constitution gives everybody the right to be heard or not or to defend or not to defend, and then processes to be punished or not to be punished.
That's it. And if the Constitution envisages that there will not be a time to remove a Chief Justice, there is no way we will have that provision in the Constitution. Once it is there, then it means that we can use. Today is a Chief Justice. Tomorrow there will be the President. We did not have the balls or the tenacity to, as it were, put in motion the provision that removes a president. Either the President Kufuor would have gone.
You mean it could have been impeached?
The way he was behaving, he should have been impeached long ago. Impeached. But you see, we are afraid. Here again, you listen to Dr. Zato. It must be difficult. Why must it be difficult to remove a president? Why must it be difficult to remove a Chief Justice? Why must it be difficult to remove Speaker of Parliament? I myself, I want to send a petition to the Parliament to remove the Speaker of Parliament. You remember the committee that was set for destruction of properties?
Yeah.
What has come out of that?
Yeah.
Was that committee not set up by the Speaker of Parliament? So when you have these things happening and you say it must be difficult to remove such people, then how would this country develop? So let the laws of the land work. The Chief Justice must go and face the committee, and I will plead with the committee members that they must be fair to all sides. Make sure that if she's not at fault, nobody forces fault on her. But the way and manner political activists are behaving as though the Chief Justice has been found guilty. Is she guilty now? She has not been.
Like what Dr. Zasso is saying.
Yes.
You think it's premeditated?
Premeditated, but in a way, I would have called for her negotiation. I want to see her exit.
You keep mentioning negotiation.
It's very important.
She shouldn't allow the
process to terminate. It's very, very important.
Why?
For posterity. You see, now if you take an entrenched position, government takes an entrenched position, where would we be heading to? And like Dr. Mr. Ansari was saying, public policy, the stability of the country is very important. So in such matters, we negotiate backstage so that the unity of the country continues. And not that we will just be throwing in tantrums. So I have no difficulty at this stage. The Constitution must be reviewed so that some of the things that we are raising today in terms of openness will be brought to bear in our subsequent deliveries. And that when someone decides to petition, right from the petition to the time that a prima facie case is established, everything is open, the hearings at the committee levels become open, and all other processes. And also the Supreme Court, we must find a way of dealing with the issue of May, where the suspension, where legal luminaries are raising the issue of there should have been regulation, and others are saying that, look, no, because of France versus Attorney General, what the president has done is wrong. So all these things must be catalogued and dealt with once and for all, so that we are all clear in our mind. But in terms of whether or not the Chief Justice can be removed, nobody should deceive him or herself.
And that is enshrined in the Constitution.
Just like this. But we submit ourselves to the judges for them to deal with us anyhow. Have you been to any court? When you go and they are dealing with you as though you are no human being. But we have given them that power. Unyobia. But what is it? What is so difficult about you also submitting yourself to the law? Oyobi. So we that are paying here, we are no Obi.
All right, so we'll get to the code of conduct that has been launched by the president, but more so now fully out, but importantly, looking at some of those inherent issues in there. But as we take a look at that also, look, there are important issues we have to deal with. It is 120 days of the John Mahama-led government, and we know that today exactly is that 120-day that will be ending, close of day. And what's your own assessment? What do you think, if you have to take the boxes, are good? And what do you think are the downside? Let's start with the good ones.
Thank you very much. I think that the whole idea of, if you want to take boxes, as you've said,
No,
about...
I just asked.
I know. I'm starting there. You want to take boxes with the 120-day social contract. You will take almost all of them. If you take boxes and you are looking at it just through statistics, I don't want to mention statistics because the expert is here. I don't want him to... No. You will see that he would have ticked all the boxes. He would have ticked all of them. So if we are looking at it quantitatively and just by percentages, he would have done all of that. I don't want to do that. I want to move the argument somewhere else. And I want to focus on two main issues that were in the social contract. Item number 3, code of conduct. His Excellency the President says he was going to have a code of conduct. And actually, he published the code of conduct. Thank you, Your Excellency. I'm glad that you've published a code of conduct. I'm glad that you've published something that will be there to guide Ghanaians. But on his way out to launch the code of conduct, he was breaking the code of conduct he himself was launching. And he said 2 bad precedents. There's a headline here I want to read from an expert who says, you don't accept, then donate, you reject. Somebody or some people donated 2 vehicles to His Excellency the President. Who were they? Why did they donate them? And what is it with His Excellency President and car donations? What is it? Why does he attract people so much who want to donate cars to him? What is it?
But don't you think it's rather good?
This is the point I'm making.
Is it not good that
no, it's not. The president rejects, you don't accept it, and then later you come and donate it. Imagine this happened to a police officer standing somewhere. Then you come. He said, collect 10,000 cedis and let me do this. You do it. Then the next day he says, oh, I have no conscience, I have not brought the money back. Will the law leave him? Imagine any scenario under which a public servant, an ordinary Ghanaian, receives...
The two situations
they are the same. You receive it. Why did you... First of all, if you understand, who gave him the car? Who? 2. Why? What did they want? What if we later get to know that they got what they wanted? What if we get to know that he was actually influenced? If you want to insist on this thing, you reject it completely. You say that, look, don't bring me. Or the question then becomes, there's another question. When did they make this donation? When was it done? When? How long did you keep this car?
So you think that's a
So
wrong?
for me, that is a wrong way to start talking about ethics and code of conduct. You don't collect, go and put it there for how long, for when. Maybe you were compromised when you collected it. Maybe you are about to be compromised when you collect it. You now rush and say, oh, by the way, I'm directing the state protocol. Ghanaians need these answers. Who sent it? When was it sent? Why was it sent?
Yeah, 2 minutes on this.
Thank you very much. I'm even happy that my colleague said that if you want to tick the box, Mama will almost tick all the boxes for his first 120 days. In fact, he has answered that question for me, so I will not go into it because it's 2 minutes. You have a president who somebody voluntarily donated an item to, which is a vehicle, 2 vehicles. And this president says that I'm not going to keep this. Let me rather add this to the fleet of vehicles within the presidency to be used for the state issues. And actually handed over publicly, not secretly, unregistered vehicles. And I don't see why my own colleague again. Today, I think he's not in the spirit today. He's not in the spirit today. This is not his usual spirit, yes. Today he's not in the spirit.
Usually hyper than this.
I tell you.
Then we'll die here.
I mean, this one is nothing happened yet. What he's doing now. Yeah. So, for me, the president have done so well. He actually stick to all the things he promised to do within the 120 days. And most of them are actionable things, not just on paper. We can all see them. Even the 24-hour economy, you can see it's already done. And committees being set up who are already working. And then we also have things around. Let me just list some few of them, maybe for those who might not know. The nomination of full list of cabinet, as you are aware, this has been done. The formation of a leaner government. For the first time, as you can see, this is the first time we had that lean government as far as people they are concerned. Code of Conduct, he said, we have done that. Hosting a national economic dialogue, if you remember, we have done those things. And organizing a national education dialogue, we have done that. Launching the Tree for Life and Blue Water, you have seen it, and we are done with that. No fee stress for the first year people. And in fact, we also abolished taxes on the COVID and then We
You
also
haven't abolished COVID yet.
COVID levy, abolition of taxes, COVID levy.
E-levy, those ones.
That's the next budget. That's the next budget. Then we have the 1 million codes program. We have the Mahama Care, the Dumara program. We have done that. Free teacher education for disabled people. Remember those who are disabled. This has been already put into that. Seed money for women development, but that has been done. Especially of Accelerated Sport Development Council, we have done. The conversation for private teams. Many were also done. So this discussion is about how far we is 120 days. In fact, this is the first time we got a president who within a short time was able to push all these things along the line. And don't forget the betting tax too. These are things he has done. On that note, I can only thank Mahama for being a president who delivers on his promises. Thank you.
All right.
120 days. We voted for John Mahama to serve us for 1,480 days. He has served us only 120 days. So far, the unemployed youth are still on the street. They have no jobs. Galamsey is terrible, terrible, so terrible. And I don't know why they want to dilly-dally with the issue of Galamsey. That is where it will be trailer in Manila. Because you see, that airline that they are dilly-dallying with it, 2462, you are amending. Nobody gave us any assurance that we are going to amend anything. It was revocation. It must be. So we will come back. The movement for change, definitely that is our concern. The environment. Beyond that, he kept to his word, appointing ministers within record time, keeping to the numbers. I think they are not even up to 60. No. They're about 57, which is good.
We should give one to my prof here.
Code of conduct has been launched, the economic dialogue, and so on. But it is not enough to do all this when it does not lead to that conclusion or the desired conclusion that all of us are looking for. What are we looking for as a country?
Transformation.
Transformation. Our youth must get jobs to do. It is so humiliating for someone to finish university or polytechnic and the person wakes up and he or she does not know where to go. That is where the issue is. Go and see yesterday, Inter beating Barcelona. A lot of people were sad. Why? Because they put their money in.
But they are not going to pay tax
They have turned themselves into betting professors, not through their fault.
Because of the state of the
country. So please, whoever has been put in charge of anything, you must fast track the pace. I, for instance, do not understand why, as we speak, Exim Bank does not have a board. People are bringing proposals. It is not good enough, Mr. President. It has to be at place. But let me also say that whoever and whatever the governor of Bank of Ghana, together with the team, they are doing, they must continue.
No, what the MPP says is because of the trade war.
So why didn't the Ukraine war bring the dollar down? If it is about war that improves the stability of a currency, then the Ukraine war should have brought the currency down.
I don't understand.
Russia, I both know war.
The trade war and then
Russia war. Is it not the same war? Has the world stopped using dollar to trade? It's a demand and supply situation. If someone is doing something that is right, we must encourage the person. So tomorrow, by their own analogy, if the dollar begins to rise, would they have the temerity to go back and say that this governor is not performing, when the constitution is so clear that the stability of our currency is the sole responsibility of the governor of Bank of Ghana? I don't have a problem with according the governor of Bank of Ghana some levels of respect in this regard, because it is saving the business community. And I would encourage him, those that have been doing business in the Middle East.
Even Guta has issued.
Yes, they know, but between 2014 to date, the dirham to the dollar has been 3.68. I would encourage the governor to do something going forward and not to be doing some of this.
Delhi rightly says Solomon Owusu any day. He's not biased. Charlie, they love you.
Really? They should join the movement. The party is coming. People of this country together.
That's all.
They come in party.
And then
join the party and you'll be free.
But don't worry, the youth, we are getting them jobs.
Okay, so Moses, I also got your message.
I'll go and sleep.
He says, must we criminalize everything? So that's a question that is being asked as well. And then lawyer Eric Alipu also says, the law says clearly that the proceedings must be in camera, but not made public. Let nobody confuse the general public that the president has a discretion to either disclose or not. Per the Constitution, he cannot disclose the proceedings while the law is ongoing. The only thing that needs to be undertaken is an amendment to the Constitution that would enjoin the president to do so. Guy G, aka Tescon UCC calling, says Professor Justice, you went to UCC, so you're a fellow and a true Casfordian. Oh, fantastic. He even says that you were a first class student.
When you have vandals here, the custodians should shut up.
He says that you were a first class student too.
Oh, yes.
First class.
They have vandals here, so the custodians should shut up.
You want to vandalize
Please inform him to perform. Please inform him to perform a ritual by holding his balls. Is that what you were doing in school? Gaiji, you guys will hold your balls.
And sing the national anthem. The vandal anthem. We can do that.
All right, okay. Please, their mics off. Their mics off. Their mics off. Please.
Vandals.
Please be informed. Please be informed that I've been ordered to say good morning to the Honorable Joseph Albert Kwam, who is a CEO of Professor Kwam Group, former MP, Manson Kwanta constituency. That's Professor Kwam. Good morning to you. I know you as well. And he's also a non-publisher, businessman as well. Good morning to you. And then Justice Sanyo Jamepe, great man, alongside your team. The Chief of Staff, that's Dr. Anoche and everybody else. We all love you. Well, good morning to you as well. We're taking a break. We'll be right back. We have that health forum. It's coming up. Myself and Kamini will be sitting on stage moderating. We have all sorts of experts as well as leaders of the health community will be right here. It's called the State of Health Facilities in Ghana, the National Forum, right here on TV3 and live on 3FM 92.7. Next. Bye-bye.
Every day, people have money emergencies. I need my school fees emergency. Mommy chop money emergency. Medicine. Rent emergency.